So today we're breaking down Facebook ads from the ground up, what they are, what they aren't, and how to use them strategically. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or skeptical about these paid ads, this episode is your clarity. Chris Campbell, founder of Modern Day Marketing Solutions, is back and he helps businesses build marketing systems that actually work. And he's here to talk to us about all things Facebook ads. So, Chris, it's first of all, so good to see you. It's always exciting because whenever I see you, it's on a Friday. And
hmm
Fridays are always super energetic. So it's great to see you.
Well, good to see you. Good to be seen, and I'm hoping you have a good Friday as well. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Facebook ads. Oh my gosh, this is a topic that even thinking about it makes my brain go, wow, like, what do I do? And so many people think ads don't work. So, can
hmm
you tell us the difference between maybe boosting posts, running a structured campaign? What are Facebook ads?
Man, great question. Okay, so really to kind of start this off is let's think about it from this view. Most people run Facebook ads absolutely wrong. Most marketing
Mm,
agencies run Facebook ads wrong. And there are debates on the best way to run Facebook ads. So we'll get a chance to kind of dive into that. But let's start with the question at hand is what should we do about Facebook ads? Should we boost it? Should we use Meta? And the answer is really simply this, right? Your business may or may not actually be a good fit for Facebook ads at the moment, right? If you're let's say you are a really niched in product, that could be very favorable for Facebook. But if you're a very broad-based business, right, like a pharmaceutical company, it may not be the best place. Google may wind up being the best place. See, the first couple things we have to understand is who's viewing what, right? 89% of all the searches in the world still go through Google. Now,
mm,
the next biggest search engine after that is YouTube, right? So if you've
right.
got videos that make sense, YouTube still could be it. Now, YouTube is technically harder to run ads on, so you have to be really accomplished, or your marketing agency that you're working with also has to be accomplished to really run it effectively. So I don't really recommend that in the beginning. And then you have Facebook, right? So let's say you are a hairstylist and you want to run ads. Well, the last thing you ever want to do is boost anything. A boost is simply just traffic engagement. So what Facebook does is say, "Oh, wow, you're a hairstylist? Well, let's just tell everybody. We're actually going to tell people in Missouri when you live in Texas. Or we're going to tell people in Washington when you live in Florida. Like, that is absolutely horrendous. You just gave Zuckerberg more money. Never, ever, ever do that." And the first step really is to not do anything. Don't run any ads until you have all the data. And the data starts with doing the research, right? So if you go to just Google Facebook ads library, right? And go look and see who's running ads in your field. Make sure that there's enough people that are running it, and then filter it out by the last 90 days. So you don't want to see any ads within the last 90 days, but 90 days and beyond, those are going to tell you that those ads are currently running and that they're obviously producing results. So take a keen eye as to why they're running results. What is the message? Well, was it a video or static image? Really do that before you even begin to run ads. Go get that data first.
So ads really aren't for everybody.
No, no.
Hmm.
And not to
Yeah,
say
I
that,
know a
not
lot
to,
of people who have that mentality that they're going to spend boost. I see that every time I open my Facebook. Boost this post, and you can spend $1 million, and it'll be seen by 1 million people or whatever it is, right? So who should be using it then?
okay, nobody should be using Boost, period. Nobody.
Okay.
Unless there's one caveat and you're just trying to get people to like your page. Yeah.
Mm,
You want people to like and follow your page? Sure. But these are not going to be your ideal client. These are not going to be people who are really ever going to be involved. These are really just people that are going to like, follow, and move on. And that's what
right.
Facebook does is it first and foremost is we have to define what Facebook actually is, right? And it's
Mm,
not a social media platform. It's a data center. It
yeah.
collects data. That's all it does. It happens to also be a social media platform, but it knows people who are just going to like and move on and people that are moving on. I mean, so
Right.
in theory. So yeah. So in terms of boosting, no, don't boost ever.
So why do ads amplify problems instead of fixing them?
Awesome. So we work mostly with businesses that have an established retail location or they're a service-based business. So a service-based could be someone who's a remodeler, it could be a plumber, electrician, roofer, contractor, it could be a cleaning company, chiropractor, right? And then that's because they have a retail front, like a jewelry store, like um, a furniture location, a boutique shop of some kind. Like those established businesses are great for Facebook, right? Because what
Mm,
they're doing is they're amplifying what they do to resonate in the community, and they could do it at a much lower cost than Google. Much lower. Google at this point is very expensive. So unless you have a really big ad budget and you're really dialed in with your message, then start at Facebook and then kind of work your way to Google. Because both sides, you can make an argument. A good example is roofer. Your best intent client is probably going to come from Google because they're
mhm.
searching for your exact thing, but the cost variance is dramatic. Roofer near me in Austin is like a $200 click. So that may mean it's 5 clicks for one call. That's $1,000 potentially you're spending to compete with big boys to get the highest intent keyword. However, on Facebook, that $1,000 might get you 10 to 15 leads. Some might be
Right.
roof repairs, some might be roof inspections, but you're going to close more long term with Facebook than you will with Google unless you have the budget for it.
Yeah, nothing is cheap.
No, no. I don't know how inflation affects that, but that's a different story for later.
So, what about the messaging on these ads? How do people set it up? Because I've seen ads that I don't even know what the person's selling. And that is so unclear that I'm like, get it away from me. Because I can't look at this. I don't even know what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is if the first part of why people fail is because they don't know which platform to be on, is it Facebook, is it Google? They have to understand their budget. That's going to be the number one thing really is knowing your budget. If you have a small budget, maybe not maybe no ads. Maybe you
Right.
need to be going to networking events, join a BNI group, right? Like find a local group that you could be in and develop a budget to scale. These platforms are not made for people who are struggling. They're made for people who are ready to scale to the next level, and that requires money. It takes money to make money, right? And
Yeah.
so in the next part to this is identifying your message, right? We call this an IC, which is your ideal client persona. And that person you need to know so well that if you were to talk to someone about what that person looked like, they could make out that person visually. Like it needs to
Mm,
be that detailed. So if I said I'm targeting women who are in their 40s, they have 2 kids, they're a stay-at-home mom, they wear Lululemon, they go to yoga, they like their iced coffee before noon, like that's an ICP. Like we could draw that up. So she's
yeah.
probably pretty successful, right? Doesn't have to do anything. Yeah, just like you. That's
That's
you
me.
for you.
You just explained me, except I don't have the
Oh,
kids. I love
nailed it.
my iced coffee before noon and I love my Lululemon.
Absolutely. Who doesn't? I don't mind that either. No, but that's how like Facebook wants to know that. And then what
Yeah.
Facebook has recently changed is the psychology of how we promote our products. So you can't just have a repeat message that says the same thing but with a different image. Now it has to be different. Your messaging has to be different, and you want to allow Facebook to move around some of these headlines and some of these descriptions with different images and videos. We'll talk about that method here in a minute, but how to actually drive home ads that resonate. But you have to do the research to find out why someone would even want to target that person and why that person should click.
Right. So we need the things that must be crystal clear before launching ads. So that would be target audience.
Hmm.
You need the core problem, the offer, and then the action. So is there
Yeah.
anything that I'm missing?
A landing page. You'll need to identify where these ads go to. If you Most people that boost the post are hoping either someone calls them or messages them. Both are
Yeah.
horrendous options Of course, through a boost. There are some DM strategies that work very well. There's some people that have made millions on DM
Mhm.
strategies. So I have done actually pretty well with DM strategy ads as well. But ultimately, you want to have knowledge of where all this is going, the end result to this. Like you said, what is the action? The action needs to be that they go to a landing page and they're able, and that landing page needs to be a sales landing page. It's only designed to do one thing: either let them opt in and collect the information or let them click off and go somewhere else. Now, over time, we identify is that the bottleneck of your problem of not getting enough leads. But initially, it needs to sell people on why you're doing what you're doing. And if you can't answer that, then we've got another major problem.
I know that I have clicked on ads before that have taken me to a page that was confusing and
Hmm.
and then I wasn't able to directly look at whatever it was that caught my attention. And so the landing page needs to be also simple and crystal clear and have the call to action right there. It's like if I'm buying
Hmm.
if I'm booking whatever, a service for the roofer, like you talk about, I want that booking link right there so I can click on it, fill it in, and done. I don't want to look for it. I don't want to
Right.
search through it. I don't want to go through different tabs. So I find that to be an issue for a lot of people as well. The call to
Uh,
action is unclear.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Here's another potential problem that you have is if you really want this to be dialed in. Let's say you're a remodeler, right? You're a remodeler in Denver, right? And you're really well known in Denver, but you're not really well known in Aurora, right? If someone from Aurora clicks in on these ads, you might be offering too many services or main products. Divide those up into different landing pages. Yes,
Mm.
there is cost that's associated, but if you're a very good remodeler and you're really well known for kitchen remodels, they shouldn't see bathroom remodels when they clicked on a kitchen remodel ad. They should be seeing only kitchen remodels. If they're seeing roofing, don't you're not showing exterior siding and painting, you're showing roofing. Get them get them to understand that you're the top authority and you're the only one that can save their problem. If you can do that, you're going to win way more often. So definitely divide out and make sure that you have the right landing pages that matches the niche in what you're targeting as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's so confusing otherwise. And with the market so saturated right now, with ads and all this stuff, if it's not simple, people are not going to have the attention span to scroll and look for things, no matter how
Correct.
good you are.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing, right? Is what we call stop the scroll moments, and that's how do you stop people in videos, and that's where your research comes into play. You should have a pretty good idea of ads that are working because they're already active after 120 plus days. They're still ongoing. They're going to give you a little bit of an idea of what stopped people and why those ads still remain active. It's because they work in some form. People don't pay for ads that don't work, especially if it's a year in, 2 years in. Think about it as gold and label that as such so that you can keep that in your back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a few things that stop the scroll, but I don't know if they're appropriate.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yes. Let's talk about campaign structure.
Yes. Yeah. So, at the heart of all of our campaigns, oftentimes people ask, do I do an ad set budget? We call that an ABO, or do we do a CBO, which is a campaign budget? Um, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, the Andromeda update says we do a CBO and we leave it all to Facebook and they'll figure it out. Most big marketing agencies with what we call media buyers will all say no to that. Now, some will say yes, but that's after ads have proven themselves and you've got winning ads that you put in a CBO. That has a separate argument, but I'm a primarily ABO only person. So, in other
What does that
words,
mean? What is ABO and CBO?
so
Just
that
for the
is
people out there that don't know.
correct. So the campaigns could be I've got one campaign and I'm going to put all my ads in it and I only want to spend $100 a day on it. And that's a CBO, right? An ad set budget means that the whatever the ad set within the campaign will only budget to that amount. So within a campaign, you can have 90 ad sets and they all have their own money that they will spend that day. So you can have one ad set that spends 40, one ad set that spends another 40, and another ad set that spends 20 to get you that 100. Whereas you have a lot more control on the ads than if you go CBO, then Facebook is kind of pick its own winners and it's going to assume it really before ads have even been decided by the audience. It's going to assume its own algorithm knows best. And a lot of big marketers will say that algorithm still doesn't know best because it may throw a lot of money towards ads that aren't winning. So I am personally not a big CBO guy. I stay in that ad set budget only range. Now, within the structure of that, we will typically run one ad set, and then we're going to run 12 ads. Now, the key here is in this structure, the structure isn't for everybody. It's for people who are willing to start their ad budget at or around $100 to $150 a day minimum. So if you
Mm,
only have 30, $50, this isn't your structure because you're not going to get out of what we call the learning phase of Facebook, where it will identify winners within this. Now, I can't take the credit. There's a gentleman named Charles. He runs a group called the Disruptor Academy that's on School. That's a great place to obviously be a part of the Facebook group. So, Charles, I forgot your last name. I'm so sorry. I will give you credit though. But he has coined this the 322. So essentially, you have three ads, you have three images, and it could be a static image, it could be video images. You've got two headlines, and then you've got two hooks. And then so for each image ad, it's going to have one hook, one headline, the other headline, the other hook, the other hook, the other headline, so that you could get four for every image. That will give you 12, hence 322. Now,
mm.
we will set that in a way where Facebook will allow its creative side to kind of pick and choose within there, but you have to make sure that your budget is at $100 or more per day to get out of learning so that in 5 to 7 days you're going to identify some winners out of there.
Nice. That is very helpful. So, what about, let's talk about why good ads fail. So, what does make people stop scrolling, like
Okay.
realistically?
Well, if you think that your message is good, but it's just like everybody else's, that will fail pretty much immediately. People are interested in what's new. We're in this era now where things are instantaneous. My kids want everything now. Like I can't even get mac and cheese that's in a bowl that I throw water in the microwave that takes, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Like my kid doesn't want to wait for that. And that's horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's horrendous. But that's where we're at. So these ads have to be scroll stopping by. I love to run ads where we're in the middle of the story instead of the beginning, right? So if your
Mm,
ad is, it's maybe I'm right in the middle of talking to my agency and I'm frustrated with them that for the third month now in a row, I have no leads and I'm paying them again. How frustrating is that? I've got an ad out where I start in the middle of the conversation of that. So it makes you go like, what is he angry about? And then it unfolds. That type of stuff is great. Great colors, identifying different color schemes is always going to help stop image ads. That's a great way to go. And simplicity is going to be key. An ad that's got 90 words on it, throw that away. Slim that down to 10, 15 words. And if someone were to go by, it's calling out their audience the right way.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned the hard way is like even saying, "Hey, everybody, how's it going?" That people are like, "Nope,
Yep.
don't want to know what she's talking about. On to the next." Like people want to know what they're going to learn by watching the video, like immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And the
like
call
using
out,
way
oh,
too
go ahead.
many words, right? Like not getting to the point is going to harm your message.
Right. Right. And that again, that starts with knowing your offer and your audience, right? You're not running
Mhm.
ads until you know exactly what that audience likes or doesn't like, and don't deviate from that. There's nothing wrong with copying people and doing a better version of it. Matter of fact, do that. McDonald's came out with a kitchen that revolutionized the way the fast food was done. What do you think happened to everyone else? They copied it and made their own iteration and did a little better because of it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, copying, what do they say? Copying someone is the best form of flattery.
It is. No, it's true. It absolutely is true. No question. Yeah.
Yeah, I just know how frustrating it can be, when someone has an amazing product, and no one is paying attention to them. Like that can be extremely frustrating. And you add in the layer of spending the money on these expensive ads.
Mm.
Yeah, it's extremely
Well,
frustrating.
and to kind of piggyback off that is a lot of the clients that come to us are frustrated because one, when they did their own ads, it wasn't good. And then when they went to an agency, those ads didn't improve and they got frustrated again. And maybe they went to another agency that promised them it would work and it doesn't work then. So a lot of times we're inheriting people who have such trust issues. They don't know what's right or wrong. They just say, hey, I clicked on it because this is my problem. What can you do better? And that's where, again, your unique mechanism and your offer comes into play. Oftentimes, the problem with everyone's ads is that their offer isn't any good. It's just not. You don't have a good
Right.
offer, and people aren't interested in people who don't have a good offer. So think about that offer, start there. If it's not working, then work your way back into the messaging, then work your way back into the landing page. Identify which bottlenecks it could be. You get a lot of clicks, but you don't have any form submissions, your offer's not any good. You get a lot of
Hmm.
form submissions, but you don't have people that are confirming their Calendly to do a Zoom with you. Well, that means you have a landing page issue, right? You have some clicks, but people aren't getting there. What's the problem? Go back and identify that and ask your friends, would you click on this? Ask them. So is this
Hmm.
actually any good? Do you think it would actually help you? Let them be
Yeah.
honest.
There's the numbers game that people get so blinded by, like this idea that the more likes you get, the more people that are viewing your stuff, the more followers you have is going to
Mhm.
convert to sales. And that is complete BS. Like you need the
Right.
right people looking at your stuff. It doesn't matter how many people look at something, right? It's how is this converting and are people actually contacting me?
Right. And that's why I would steer most people away from YouTube is because of that. We call that a vanity metric, right? You got all these clicks and you got no leads. Well, what does that matter? You can have everybody on the planet could click it. It doesn't matter if you got no leads. And oftentimes you will struggle mightily in YouTube, because that video has to be so good. I mean, it's got to be
Hmm.
scripted right. You really need to hire what we call a copywriter to write it correctly. You really need to hire a great video editing team to know how to structure the video. Don't just jump into YouTube because you'll get crushed there.
Right, right. So how much money realistically should someone be beginning with? I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I just want to get clarity on that for someone who's okay, I've got all of my ducks in a row. Now, how much should I be realistically spending to be successful?
Okay. So, man, you got such good questions, Lisa. I love it. Before we
I'm
jump into
bound.
that, we're still wading through. What's your data pixel, right? What the hell is a data pixel? Well, essentially, it's an algorithm that collects data. When you have a brand new Facebook page or an ad page, you have to have your data pixel set. And
Mm,
then when it's set, we have to have it in a conversion event. A conversion event means when someone does something, your pixel then collects the data off of it. So if you get an opt-in where someone goes to your landing page and they give you your name and email and phone number, your conversion event needs to be that event when someone opted in. That could be what we call a registration event, or we could call it a lead event. It could be either one. Typically, I like to call that a registration event because they filled in information. But you wouldn't
right.
necessarily be wrong by calling it a lead. Once that registration event occurs, the pixel then tells Meta, hey, let's go find more people like this. And then what it will do is tell Facebook, go find more people that fit that and get them back here. The more your pixel picks up data, the better your ads run. So the biggest struggle before we even talk about cost is that most people's Facebook ads don't go anywhere because their pixel has no information or has bad information. Maybe
Mm,
they've used, maybe they've had that same pixel for 5 years and they've had six different agencies and they've just been throwing money left and right and they're not getting anything. Well, oftentimes, right, and especially if it happened very recently, we call that a washed pixel. So that means it has so many data points, it doesn't really actually know who your ICP is. Start a new pixel, make sure your conversion event is set correctly. If you're not sure how to do that, then you need to definitely hire someone, someone like us, right? Someone out there who knows what they're doing, right? Or you can also chat GPT, like, help me set the correct conversion event for my pixel, and you're going to be right. Most people don't even add a pixel, and that's a bigger problem. So then think of your pixel as a brain. When you get it, it's like a baby. It's small, it's relatively worthless, right? Like it's gonna function, but we needed to get it to like 10-year-old level. So it needs to get to like fourth grade, fifth grade before it tells Meta correctly. Like, I like this person because it's mid 40s. She's blonde mother, right? Husband works. She doesn't have to do anything. Like, she wants to do bathroom remodel. Go find me more like that. That's what we want. So then when it comes into costing, we've got clients that started out at $50 a day that now do 1,500 a day in ad spend.
right.
Why? Because they scaled correctly. They knew the winners and they looked at it at a vending machine. I'm going to hand Chris one. He's going to hand me $3 to $5 back, and I'm going to just keep going away. And at some point, there's an arc where there's an apex to how much you spend, and the cost for the lead goes back up again. When that does, we need to reduce the ad spend and allow that arc to come back down again so that we can still maintain quality without blowing your ad spend. That's a little more technical, but that's on the scaling side. If you're trying to go there, that's a great conversation for us later.
Yeah. So when does it pay itself off? So eventually you're going to make all the money back to pay for these ads and be ahead.
So, all right. This is a very complex answer because my answer needs to be same month. The reality is that for depending on your niche, right? Like, let's say you're a really like your niche is very niched in and it's very difficult. It may not be till month two that you're able to recoup month one and recoup month two at the same time. So you have
Right.
to be, that's what you have to be willing to say. If the cost for me to acquire my client, let's say you're a lawyer and you're wanting someone that's in personal injury, you know that that personal injury is going to pay out, let's say on average $10,000. You have to be willing to potentially pay up to $2,000 to $5,000 to acquire that client. So that means either your daily has to be much higher or you have to be willing to wait longer. But waiting longer is dangerous because if you can't get out of Meta's what we call learning phase, you're going to be in big trouble. And so we need that data to really pick up. We need your pixel to pick up that data to move faster. This is where the complexity of like DIY is so difficult because if you try to do this, there's people that have been doing this 2, 3 years and they still suck at it. And that's all they do. And a lot of
Right.
agencies have that person. So if you just think you're going to do it over the weekend, that is absolutely not. You can probably get away with a little bit of Google, right? If you have enough negative keywords to help offset your search. But on Facebook, you're not. You'll get slaughtered.
Mm. So it realistically takes a few months to start seeing a return on your investment if everything is set up properly.
I mean, really, really good meta guys are going to tell you we should see results in the first week or two. Yeah. I mean, most time I like to see leads start to flow in the first 72 hours after we set them. For some people, yeah, it could be months, unfortunately.
Mm. So just a few clarity questions. So even in my work, I was involved in some network marketing stuff. And a lot of the advice that they were giving was to do the boosting of random posts. So you're saying we need to stop boosting random posts.
No, yeah, stop. Yeah, it's pure waste of money. I'd love to talk to someone that was like, "Oh my gosh, I got phenomenal return on investment from boosting." I've never ever heard that. I've never seen that. No. Now, if they just said, "Hey, we were looking for 100 new followers," okay, Sure, but that's very rarely anyone's goal. Your goal is to get your money back in some form, plus some.
Right. I think the thought process behind that was that if you're boosting something that's popular, that the algorithm would recognize you and then start pushing up more of your stuff to more people is was what the that was what everyone was saying at that time. But again, algorithm stuff is so confusing and I feel like it changes so often.
Yeah, the new updates are I mean, this last update was tricky. The one that we had in 2022 with when the Apple iOS came out made pixels stop. See, what is important about your pixel is that it can continue to target you. We haven't even talked about retargeting. I think that's probably a conversation for another time. But the reality is if you're able to target someone, then you collect their data. You can find more of those people. But when your data gets blocked, what happened with Apple is now 80% of Apple users don't allow pixels to come across into the app to pick up more information on that person. So now Facebook has to work harder, your pixel has to work harder, and most people have not adjusted to that, even in the last 3.5, 4 years, and therefore they're still running bad ads. And the biggest complaint that we get is, Chris, I'm on my second, third agency. I've already blown 10,000 in ad spend. How do I know that you guys are going to do it right? And that's a frightening question by the time it gets to us, right? Now, obviously, we have a lot of authority. We have case studies. All those things are great. But for anybody else, that's a really hard conversation to answer because the majority of the time it's, well, trust me, I'm this or I'm that. And that usually just doesn't cut it when you're trying to get people convinced that you're the right solution for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really tough. I know we talked about that in previous episodes. It's really tough to stand out these days, and it's
Mhm.
even harder to gain people's trust because of all the misinformation out there, the misleading stuff. And so, I mean, we even talked about, you even mentioned on the last episode about you can hire people to give you a review. I mean, how confusing is
Yeah.
that? And then people spend so much money and they get burnt. And yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, imagine if you could just, I mean, this is how crazy AI is, right? There's some places where you can have them build out like a simple landing page, and they're going to put in fake testimonials ahead of time, and they're going to put in images of that person. And most people don't verify that image is that person, and so
Yeah.
that's obviously another big problem that we're continuing to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Chris, tell everyone more about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, listen, my team and I, if you've seen past episodes or if this is your first time, we're elite storytellers. So, we help your story and your brand get better traction. Oftentimes, what really the biggest struggle that we find is people just have a bad messaging problem. They don't understand their offer. They don't really have the dialed in ICP, like where they could describe that person and I could visualize it. That's their biggest problems. The other part is they might be good at a couple things, but they're not great at anything. And so we are great at each level that we do. Each employee knows the lane that they stay in. So the people who write copy or the words that go on your landing page or in your script, that's all they do. They don't do images, they don't build funnels, they don't do landing pages or websites. And so each one of our team members is designed to give you the best experience possible. We offer something that's called the Executive Concierge Package. That means you have someone with you 24/7. So if you were to wake up in the middle of the night and you had this great idea or this worry and you wanted it gone, you have someone that can answer that question right away. And so for us, we're elite at ads, SEO, and more importantly, getting you known. So if that's a struggle, we'd love to give you a free audit assessment. And even if we're not a good fit, we'll give you a good roadmap that you can follow and hopefully get your business going again.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here and for having this conversation.
Absolutely. Lisa, as always, thank you. You're wonderful. Have a wonderful Friday, too.
Yes, love it. It's Friday. And to our audience, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We will have more of Chris's information in the show notes for you so you have easy access to him and what he does. Until next time, take care, everyone.